Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that affects millions of people worldwide, but often goes unnoticed until it becomes a serious problem. We're talking about fatty liver. What is it, really? And more importantly, how does fat even end up getting stored in our liver? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a crystal clear understanding of this entire process. So, let's start with the basics. Your liver is an absolute powerhouse. It's one of the largest and most vital organs in your body, acting as a master chemical processing plant. It filters toxins from your blood, helps digest food, regulates blood sugar, and produces essential proteins. Think of it as the busiest factory in your city, working 24/7 to keep everything running smoothly. A healthy liver has very little fat in it. We're talking less than 5%. But when that percentage starts to climb, we enter the territory of what's called hepatic steatosis, or more commonly, fatty liver disease. There are two main types. The one most people have heard of is alcoholic fatty liver disease, which, as the name suggests, is caused by excessive alcohol consumption. But today, we're focusing on the other, increasingly common type, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. This is when you get fat buildup in the liver without heavy alcohol use. It's often called a silent disease because it usually has no symptoms in its early stages. So the million-dollar question is, how does this fat get there? It is not like you eat a fatty meal and the fat just decides to take a detour and set up camp in your liver. The process is a bit more complex and fascinating, and it all comes down to energy balance and metabolism. Let's break it down into three main pathways. The first source of fat is directly from our diet. When you eat a meal containing fats, they are broken down in your digestive system into smaller molecules called fatty acids and monoglycerides. These are absorbed into your bloodstream and packaged into particles called chylomicrons. These particles are like tiny delivery trucks, transporting fat to various parts of your body to be used for energy or stored in fat tissue, also known as adipose tissue. Your liver also gets a first-hand look at these dietary fats. Some of these fatty acids are taken up by the liver directly from the bloodstream. In a healthy person, the liver is brilliant at managing this. It can use these fatty acids for its own energy needs, or it can repackage them into another type of particle called VLDL, or very low-density lipoprotein, and send them back out into the body for other cells to use. It's a beautifully efficient system. But what happens when we consistently consume more calories, especially from fats and sugars, than our body needs for energy? This is where things start to go wrong. The system gets overwhelmed. Your fat cells might become full or resistant to storing more fat. This leads to our second pathway, an overflow from your body's fat stores. When your adipose tissue can't handle any more fat, or when it becomes dysfunctional, a state often seen in obesity and insulin resistance, it starts releasing more fatty acids back into the bloodstream than it should. This is a process called lipolysis. Think of your fat stores as a dam. When the dam is full and more water keeps coming, it has to overflow. In this case, the overflow is a flood of fatty acids into your bloodstream. And where do many of these excess fatty acids end up? You guessed it, the liver. Your liver, being the diligent organ it is, tries its best to deal with this massive influx of fatty acids arriving from your fat cells. It takes them in, trying to process them. But there's a limit to how much it can handle. It's like a factory receiving way more raw materials than its production lines can process. The materials start piling up in the warehouse. In the liver, this pile-up is the accumulation of fat droplets inside the liver cells, the hepatocytes. Now for the third and perhaps most surprising pathway. Your liver can actually make its own fat from scratch. This process is called de novo lipogenesis, which is just a fancy term for new fat creation. And what's the primary fuel for this fat factory? Sugar. When you consume carbohydrates, especially refined sugars like fructose, found in sugary drinks, sweets, and high fructose corn syrup, they are broken down into simple sugar molecules like glucose and fructose. Your liver plays a key role in managing this sugar. It can store some glucose as a molecule called glycogen for quick energy release later. It's like stocking your pantry with energy bars for when you need a quick boost. However, the liver's glycogen storage capacity is limited. Once those shelves are full, and you're still consuming more sugar than your body is burning, the liver has to do something with the excess. This is where de novo lipogenesis kicks into high gear. The liver converts the excess sugar into fatty acids. These newly made fatty acids then get combined with another molecule called glycerol to form triglycerides, the main type of fat stored in your body. So, to recap the journey of how fat gets into the liver, it can come directly from the fat in your diet, it can overflow from your body's fat stores when they become overwhelmed, and your liver can create new fat from excess sugar you consume. A critical player in this whole story is a hormone called insulin. Insulin's main job is to help your cells take up glucose from the blood for energy. When you eat, your insulin levels rise. In a healthy body, insulin also tells the liver to stop making new glucose and to start storing it. It also promotes fat storage in your adipose tissue and slows down the release of fat from it. But with a consistently high-sugar, high-calorie diet, your cells can become less responsive to insulin signals. This is called insulin resistance. It's like your cells are wearing earplugs and can't hear what insulin is telling them to do. When this happens, your pancreas pumps out even more insulin to try and get the message through. This high insulin state, or hyperinsulinemia, has a devastating effect on the liver. Firstly, even though other parts of your body are resistant to insulin, the liver's fat-making pathway, de novo lipogenesis, remains highly sensitive to it. High insulin is a powerful on switch for making new fat from sugar in the liver. Secondly, insulin resistance in your fat cells means they don't listen to insulin's command to stop releasing fatty acids. So you get a double whammy. The liver is being flooded with fatty acids from your fat tissue, and at the same time, high insulin is telling it to make even more fat from all the sugar that's also flooding in. It's the perfect storm for fat accumulation. So, a normal liver cell has a few tiny fat droplets, but in a person with fatty liver, these droplets start to merge and grow, forming large globules of fat that can push the cell's nucleus and other important machinery to the side. The liver itself becomes enlarged, heavier, and yellowish in appearance. In the early stages, this simple fat accumulation, or steatosis, might not cause significant damage. The liver is incredibly resilient and can often function quite well, even with a fair amount of fat. This is why NAFLD is a silent disease for so long. However, for about 1 in 5 people with NAFLD, this excess fat triggers inflammation. This stage is called non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, or NASH. The presence of all that fat puts stress on the liver cells, causing them to become injured and inflamed. Your body's immune system responds to this injury, but this can lead to a state of chronic inflammation, which is damaging over the long term. This inflammation can lead to fibrosis, which is the formation of scar tissue in the liver. As the scarring gets worse, it can progress to cirrhosis, a severe condition where the liver is permanently scarred and damaged, impairing its ability to function. The good news in all of this is that in its early stages, fatty liver disease is often completely reversible. Because it's largely driven by diet and lifestyle, changes in these areas can have a profound impact. Reducing the intake of processed foods, especially those high in sugar and unhealthy fats, is key. Focusing on a diet rich in whole foods, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats can make a huge difference. Losing even a small percentage of your body weight, if you are overweight, can significantly reduce liver fat and inflammation. Regular physical activity also helps by improving insulin sensitivity and helping your body use up excess energy. Understanding how fat gets into your liver is the first step toward taking control of your health. It's not about blame. It's about biology. It's about seeing how our modern diets can sometimes overwhelm our body's ancient, brilliant systems. By understanding the pathways, the dietary fat, the overflow from fat stores, and the liver's own fat production from sugar, we can make informed choices to support our liver's health. Your liver does so much for you every single day. Taking steps to protect it is one of the best investments you can make in your long-term well-being. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope this explanation was clear and helpful. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our future videos on health and wellness. We'd love to hear your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.